What's this hat doing today? Today the hat is like this. I don't know. Anyway, hi. My name is Lindsay, and here at the Plant Plan, what we do is we eat for our health goals. May that be composition, like body composition changes, may that be just general health, well-being, longevity, and all of that. And today I have a lot of healthy stuff going on that I have bought, and a couple of things that I haven't bought. So I guess this is going to be a bit of an anti-haul. I just went to the farmer's market. I wanted to spend some time with my friend up in Inwood, and the farmer's market was going on, and I decided that's where I was getting some of the few things that I needed this week. Also, someone in my building, I live in an apartment building, someone was moving out, I believe, and so they put a whole bunch of stuff. We have a table down in the lobby area, and folks, if they're giving up books or if they're giving up small furniture or small appliances, bits and bobs that they're trying to get rid of, a lot of times folks will leave it downstairs for someone else to use instead of throwing it out. I love that about this apartment building. It's just something that kind of organically started happening. I've done it too. If there's some things that I don't need, that I wish to find a better home, I'll put it down there. And so yesterday, someone left a whole bunch of beans. So there's bunch of different black beans. Yes, I did check the date on them, and they're not going to expire anytime soon. So we have some black beans, some kidney beans. They also had a can of beets, and they had a couple of cans of beets. I took one. They had a can of beets, and then also a Amy's soup can. It was the Amy's no chicken noodle, I think it was the name of it. I had half of it, and I put the rest in this container and filled it with water because that thing was salty as hell. So I had half with water, and then this is the other half with some more water, and I put some parsley and things like that. Anyway, so that's this. I had that yesterday for lunch. After I came in, I was like, oh, free food. And then this is the rest of the beets. I had a sandwich with beets as one of the fillings. So there's that. If you go to an office for work, that's something that you can start in the office as well. Or if there is some local community fridge that does that, or, the thing is, if you have means to buy your food, obviously do that. I'm not saying to go to like a food pantry or anything like that. Please don't. However, there are other places where you can buy your food. You don't have to go to a big box store. You don't have to go to, just consider the different types of places that you can buy your food, like farmers markets. I think those are a great option. I think they're a better option in every other city besides New York. New York is a great option as well. It's just that I find in New York City specifically, they are really expensive compared to other cities that I went to their farmers market and other countries. It seems like it's supposed to be the cheaper option, and here it's not necessarily. So that's why I'm pretty selective when I go to a farmer's market of what I'm going to buy and what I'm not going to buy. Of course, these are the people, it's directly from farmers, so they're the ones who I want to support, who I want to send my money to. But I'm not rich. And also, I don't need that much. I live by myself. So when you see me doing these food hauls and going to Costco and BJ's and stuff, I have a pretty solid system of food storage where I can buy a big quantity of food and be able to eat it over time or keep it safe to eat for quite some time. I really make great use of my freezer and also the settings that my refrigerator has. And if I'm buying something like this that doesn't come in a container, this is some Swiss chard, then I will prep it and then store it. so that it's easy to use, but then also that it's not just sitting there going bad because I'm not using it over time, right? So these are some of the things you want to be mindful of as you're shopping, as you're bringing food into your home. Don't just buy stuff to buy stuff without a plan. Don't buy wishful food, right? So it's like, oh, you know, what do I do with this vegetable? I don't know, I'll buy it anyway. And then what happens with purchases like that is that they come into your house and they leave in the trash bag. You know what I mean? That's the whole point here, is to pick nutritious foods that are going to help you towards your goals if you have them, and also to buy enough for what you need and not a whole bunch more. If you do, make sure that it's going to people who can use it, and that it's not going to waste. If you do have food that you are going to, that you're not going to eat, or that has gone a little bit off or something like that, find a local farm that you can give the scraps to if you don't have access to you know, somewhere to drop off food scraps for compost or anything like that. Or if you have your own garden, figure out how you can use compost instead of buying compost and things like that, right? Okay, preamble done. Let's get into what I actually bought for from the farmer's market and what my plan is with those things. So first off, I got this Pullman style, well, this is a bag, but there is bread inside. So I got this Pullman style loaf. I believe, yes, this is the sourdough. I always get this one from the farmer's market. It's just delicious and nutritious. And look at how pretty it is. Look at how pretty. I'm so excited to have this. I'm going to slice it up, put it back in this bag, and then I have, I'm either going to use like a big like gallon plastic bag or one of my stasher bags that I have that's like a reusable one that you can use. So that's what's happening with this. I'll probably make more sandwiches with the beets. I have tofu. I have, you know, I have the Beyond Meat steaks, although those aren't really good in sandwiches. Those are more for like bowls and wraps and stuff like that. But in any case, I have a plan for the bread, and this will likely go in my freezer. Again, it's going to help the bread last for longer. Okay, I also have some zucchini. I only got 2. These I think were like $4 a pound or something. It's a little wild when you think of how freely they grow. Like they grow like weeds. These, I'm just going to have them as a side. I don't have a special dish or anything for them. I think these days I am leaning more towards simplicity in my meals. I am not someone who really, I love elaborate meals, but I'm probably going to go out and cook those. I used to, especially when I first started my vegan diet, I got really super excited. And I think that's the joy of cooking with different plants, especially if you weren't someone who ate a lot of plants before. I did, but when I switched over, it was just so much fun to experiment and try new things and recreate this and recreate that and doing a whole bunch of stuff. So now pretty much like the most effort I do is you know, making like pancake stuff or seitan, although that is frighteningly easy. So that's my plan for the zucchini, just a very simple, probably saute or put it in the air fryer to have as a side for my meals. So what you're gonna see in the meal prep this week is, you know, again, just a preparation of different sides so that I can grab stuff in the fridge and just have food at the ready, as always. But I'm leaning less on prepped meals in the fridge. I'm realizing now, after having done this since November, this channel, or October, I'm realizing that the style of meal prep and meal planning that I do in the winter is different than the warmer months. I think in the winter, I rely more on soups and stews and hearty things and slightly more complicated meals. And then as it's getting warmer, as I'm getting more excited for all the different vegetables and fruits that are there. I just kind of want things a little bit more simple. So I'll probably be making more sauces and just keeping the veg kind of simple. So this will just be, you know, maybe some olive oil or avocado oil spray, salt, pepper, maybe some seasonings I throw on it, and then call that a day. That was a lot to say about zucchinis, but you know, pretty much the same for the following items. So this came in this huge bat. Look at this. This is Swiss chard. This is the hugest. I mean, look at how big this is. And I kind of went through the whole bunch and I found that this was the most pleasing to my eye. So that's why it came home with me. It's like a bouquet. It's so lovely. The thing about Swiss chard, or most vegetables actually, is you can eat the stalk. I see a lot of people like cutting it and throwing it out. You can definitely have that. You may need to cook them a little bit differently because this is fibrous and you know, the leaf it cooks in 2 seconds. In fact, you could just eat it raw. This, I would chop this bottom portion off. I mean, of course, cut the very tip here, chop that or slice it, dice it, whatever you want to do with it, saute it with your onions or celery or whatever else garlic and things like that, and then put in the leaves, or you can have them as separate side dishes. So anyway, that's kind of a plan for that. Again, it's just going to be a side along with whatever carb and whatever protein that I have. And so, so that's what's going to happen here. These I'm going to saute as well. Sometimes I like to throw them in soups. I like to, I mean, they're best sauteed, honestly. That's just how I like to eat Swiss chard. So again, this one's going to be more of a mix and match meal plan as I go along this week. I hate these plastic bags. I cannot put a bunch of plastic bags in my refrigerator because I won't use them. I won't use it because, you know, when you go in and you can't see what's in your refrigerator, that's a recipe for just not using anything, unless if you have very few items. If you have a packed fridge like I do with a lot of, you know, condiments and pickled things and, you know, containers of half-used tofu and things like that, it's hard to see everything that's in there. So instead of just putting everything in the crisper drawers and stuff like that, what I like to do is either put them in like a kind of to-go bag or one of the little boxes that I have. That's always going to be helpful as far as preserving your food and making sure that it's visible to you in the fridge so that it's preventing the food waste. All right. So I have cilantro because it was inexpensive and it was the aroma. I think there was a wind that caught me. So I actually don't have a plan for this, but you can always use herbs on your food. I know that there's some people that really don't like cilantro because it tastes like soap to them. I'm luckily not one of those people. Give me more and more and more cilantro, honestly. So I'll probably add this to either a salad or some sort of salsa type dip that I make. Dip? Salsa type salsa, I don't know, sauce or something like that. I'll probably make this into a sauce as well. I could probably make something similar to the parsley sauce that I made a couple months ago at this point, or it can just be a garnish. I really do like cilantro, so this certainly will not go to waste. Same thing with the stems. The stems, you can cut off the very tip of it and use the rest. It has the same flavor as the leaves. In fact, it's a little bit more pungent and zippy, I think. So if you don't mind the texture, you use that. If not, we're putting that in the compost. We're putting it in the compost, all right? Okay, and the last thing I got, sage. Oh my God. Funny story here. I walked up to that man. I had a couple of other things that I bought. I went up to the register and here was a whole bunch of sage in one of those big crates that they put things in. And I asked the man, I looked him straight in the eye and I said, "Can I put my face in this?" And he said, go ahead. He kind of removed a plastic bag that was in there. He's like, go ahead. He knew what he was doing. I had no intention of buying sage. And the second I smelled it, I had 5 ideas of things to do with sage. So he got me, bro. He got me. Oh my gosh. So I have some plant-based butter in the fridge, and that's what's going to happen with these sage. I'm also going to, I came across this, you can't even see it, cold pressed olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. So I think I'm going to make some sort of like flavored oil with it. But that was one of the ideas that I had. But of course this can be a garnish for many things, and that's what's happening with this. You can't go wrong with any herbs. So that's what's going on in my kitchen this week. Like I mentioned, I have plenty of tofu left over from a previous week. This is why I like going to Lidl and just kind of hoarding all the tofu, because then I don't have to always like kind of go down there to get it. So I just have some on hand, and it lasts forever in the fridge, right? So I have plenty of tofu. I am probably gonna make a batch of seitan at some point this week, and I have some leftover Beyond sausage as well. And that to me is plenty. I have my protein. My protein shake. Hold on. Look, I made this before turning on the camera. I have to run very shortly to see my cousin. I'm gonna help them with groceries. They just had a surgery recently, so I'm gonna go down there. So that's why I'm trying to rush and do things, but I forgot my delicious. This is a bunch of berries and the vanilla Orgain from Trader Joe's that I got several weeks ago, I think on the last grocery haul. Okay, so that is my, I guess you can call it an anti-haul for the week. I really didn't buy much. I truly just bought what I needed. And oh wait, what's this last thing? The thing that I'm most excited about, the Mushroom Man. I went early enough this time where he still had heaps of mushrooms left. So I got oyster mushrooms. Look at this one. I thought this one was such a funky little shape. They're usually a little bit more flowery. Oh, and of course it's falling apart because it was in my bag on the subway. And yeah, I got more of that. And look at this one. This was kind of my favorite. If there was one science that I wish I could go back and study, I did study botany for a little while. I took a couple courses in that. I wish I could go back and study mycology because I love mushrooms so much, and I would love to grow mushrooms. Oh, a little friend came along. Hello. I'm vegan. I don't want to eat you. Of course, I'm just going to go ahead and saute these mushrooms. I'm not going to make anything crazy and fancy out of it. If you want to see someone go ham on mushrooms, like just make them and create them into, just transforming mushrooms into completely different things, or highlighting them and making them the most delectable, beautiful, majestical food items, then there are 2 people you should follow if you're not already, although I cannot imagine that you're not following them if you're on this channel. Turnip Vegan, who I met. If I can find the photo, I'm gonna put it over here because he is the coolest, sweetest guy. I saw him at Vegandale in New York City several years back, or whenever that was, and before it got problematic. That was so much fun. I shouted at him from across the lawn. I was like, hey, Turnip Vegan, I love you, man. And he was like, whatever. He was extremely sweet to me and gave me a hug, and is a lovely person, and the vibes. He has such cool vibes. So definitely check him out. And then also Derek Sarno, who I listened to him, this was years ago because he's another OG vegan. I listened to him on a podcast so many years ago, and he was telling his story of how he became vegan, and it was one of the most impactful stories that I've ever heard. And he is such a gentle, caring soul, and he's like about that life, you know what I mean? And he's a chef and he makes beautiful things. So both of them, if you are really into mushrooms and how to cook mushrooms and really jazzing them up and not doing a Lindsay style where you just put it in a pan and call it a day, definitely check them out. I'm not opposed to that kind of cooking at all. I love it, and it's just visually interesting and wonderful to see. It's just not what I do day to day. And yeah, definitely go check them out. Okay, so this is what I have this week. I have a couple of veggie sides. Definitely my main priority was to get more greens, because I'm always, but especially in the spring, into the greens kick, and herbs. I got some herbs, I got mushroom, I got bread, and I'm definitely going to use a lot of these beans that I got. I might actually make a kind of like a Mexican bowl, because I have plenty of rice. I do actually have Mexican rice as well. The cilantro is definitely gonna do really well with that. I might get some salsa, unless if I can find some tomatoes and jalapenos. Maybe I'll make a pico myself. I have some onions, and then I'll make a bean bowl maybe with some tofu. That's a great idea. In any case, this is what I have this week, and I hope you're doing the same. I hope you are considering bringing more plants into your diet if you haven't already. There are so many fun, wonderful things you can do, but they're also really great, just simple on their own. A quick saute, some salt and pepper will do wonders, and a good sauce. Drop in the comments, tell me what you're cooking this week. What vegetables are you really excited about? I am super excited for tomato seasons. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. And the tomatoes are going to be really good coming up. I can't wait. But for now, I'm enjoying the Swiss chard. I'm enjoying the zucchinis that are already here with us, and it's going to be a great summer. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.